Storytelling, as far as I'm concerned, is empathy in action. Welcome to Your Creative Mind. This show is all about tapping into your creativity and using it to build a life you love. You'll hear practical tools, inspiring stories, and conversations with artists, writers, innovators, and changemakers who are doing the work, so you can too. Let's spark your imagination, focus your energy, and create with purpose. Ready? Let's go. Hi there, and welcome to Your Creative Mind. I'm your host, Isolde Trachtenberg. I want to start today's episode with a moment. Imagine this, a group of people sitting around a fire. The flames are flickering, they're casting shadows against the walls of a cave. There's no Wi-Fi, no TikTok, no Instagram, no printed books, no cameras, just people huddling close together. And one of them starts to speak. Not just any words. It's a tale. They're telling a story about when they discovered the waterfalls that provides all the fresh water for the people, or the spirit that lives in the stars. And everyone listens. What's going on there? That moment, tens of thousands of years ago, it's not so different from you picking up a book or binging a show or writing the first page of your own screenplay or play today. That firelit circle is where storytelling begins, and it begins instinctively. See, we don't just like stories, I think we need them. I think we're wired to tell them and to listen to them. But I want to talk about where storytelling starts. Storytelling starts deep in the brain, where emotion and memory hang out and make meaning of the world. We don't just experience events, we process them through tales, through narrative. This happened, and then this happened, and because of that, this happened. That's how we connect the dots. According to the Neuro Leadership Institute in their article, The Neuroscience of Storytelling, yes, there is one, and this is a quote, this is so cool. When we see or hear a story, the neurons in our brain fire in the same patterns as the speakers, a process known as neural coupling. You also hear it referred to as, quote, mirroring. According to highly cited work by Greg J. Stevens, Lauren J. Silbert, and Yuri Hassan, these processes occur across many different areas of the brain and can induce a shared contextual model of the situation. The motor and sensory cortices, as well as the frontal cortex, are all engaged during story creation and processing. These networks are nurtured and solidified by feelings of anticipation of the story's resolution, involving the input of your brain's chocolate, if you will, dopamine. How cool is that? That was a quote from the Neuro Leadership Institute. You can look in the show notes for the citation so you can go read the whole thing. It's incredibly interesting. But the thing that's interesting to me about this is that even when you dream, you're telling yourself stories. Your brain's job is to make sense, even if everything around that story is chaos. And what tool does it use? It uses story. We don't wait to be trained in telling stories. Little kids do it before they can even spell. Once upon a time, there was a dragon who loved pancakes. It's not a writing exercise. It's a survival mechanism. And it's joy. So let's think about what storytelling is. It's not just structure. Storytelling is not just structure. It's not just plot points or genre. It's the bridge between your experience and someone else's heart. Whether you're writing a crime novel, choreographing a dance, or building a brand, you're offering someone else a way in. You're saying, come see what I see. Storytelling, as far as I'm concerned, is empathy in action. And yeah, there's a reason a good story sticks with you more than a data point's ever going to do that. Stories light up the whole brain. Emotion, logic, wisdom, vision, motion, because they don't just inform. I like to say they transform. So why? Why do we tell stories? Okay, let's talk inspiration. Why do you tell stories? Is it because you want to entertain? Is it because you want to understand something, heal something, influence change? I'm going to tell you a secret. Every time you tell a story, you're tapping into something ancient and something personal. And that combo, ooh, it's electric. You might be, for example, trying to process your own experience. Certainly, a lot of my written work, whether it's plays or books, taps into my own life. For example, my book, The Fairy Godmother Diary, well, The Fiddler's Talisman, book one in the Fairy Godmother Diaries, is in some ways about a violinist, a classical violinist who doesn't know how to be a fiddler. In other words, she knows how to play classical music. She knows how to play what is written. But what she doesn't know how to do is improvise. She doesn't know how to make up her own tunes. She knows how to play what the masters wrote down for her. And that used to be me. I was trained as a classical violinist, and I played, if it said it was supposed to be soft, piano, I played piano. If it said it was supposed to be loud, forte, I played forte. If a note needed to be tied to another note, by gum, that's what I did. I didn't do my own thing ever. And in classical music, you're not encouraged to, right? Maybe if you're Yo-Yo Ma, yes, you're going to, or Jean-Baptiste, right? You're going to do it then, but you're not going to do it, generally speaking, if you're just a regular kid learning how to play an instrument like me with violin. And I'm currently learning how to play piano, and it's the same kind of thing. I'm learning the basics. Wow, is it the basics? But the part that's different is the same as when I decided to become a fiddler instead of a violinist. And really the only difference is style of playing and sometimes bow shape. But as a fiddler, I make my own music. I take tunes, Irish tunes, English tunes, Scottish tunes, American tunes, tunes from where I was born in Moldova, and I make them mine. I find new ways of interpreting the melodies. I play soft when sometimes other people might play loud. There's a song I sing called Here's a Health to the Company that's an Irish song. And it's usually a drinking song, here's a health to the company, that kind of thing. But how I sing it is, imagine it's 2:00 in the morning. The pub has called last call. Everybody's exhausted and about to go to bed for the night. And that's when I sing that song. And it's slow, it's mournful, and it's full of gratitude. It's not full of piss and vinegar. So I do it differently. I've made it mine, and that's how I sing it. And I had the pleasure and the honor of singing it as a dear friend, thinking of you, Kevin Hollenbeck, at a dear friend's memorial service, because at one point a long time ago, I was sitting at a bonfire, back when I could still sit at bonfires, and looking at the dying embers of the fire at about 2:00 in the morning, and no one else was up. Everyone else had gone to sleep for the night. We were all camping. And I started singing Health to the Company to no one, really. And then my friend Kevin at 2:00 in the morning shows up as I'm finishing the song. And we sit quietly for a second, and I say, damn, we've got nothing to toast with, because this is a song about toasting the company, the friends that you're with. And Kevin looked at me, smiled, reached into his ever-present black messenger bag, pulled out a bottle of Dalwhinnie whiskey, and said, of course we've got something to toast with. And that, when I told that story at the memorial, we all sang a song together, everybody who was there, because everybody in a certain group of people that I know knows that song. And everybody laughed and cried at that little story of that time when we were camping. And so not only do I tell that story to process my own experience, in that moment, I told it because I was connecting with other people, and I wanted them to share in that little bit of Kevin Hollenbeck with me. And so that's another reason, process your own experience, connect with other people, create meaning, figure things out. You might be doing it to offer beauty or hope to others, or simply imagining a better world, a different world. And I think that's where the soul part comes in. Because when the story flows through you, it doesn't just come from your mind, it comes from every part of you that has ever loved, grieved, feared, hoped, imagined, wondered. And it's not just, I think this happened. It's more, I feel this matters. And that's what's going to make a story land. And now, maybe you've got a notebook or a folder on your computer full of half-written ideas. I know I do. Or a folder on your desktop, like I said, that you haven't opened in months. And maybe a little voice in your head's going, it's not good enough. And I'm going to tell you that voice is sitting in every writer's head. It's very common. But here's the truth. Storytelling is not, and I mean not, about perfection. It's about connection. And you can't connect if you don't start. I wrote a song called Dare to Start years ago, and I've never recorded it, and I really should. But one of the lines in the chorus is, there's no way to finish until you dare to start. And I can't tell you, out of the 9 books I've written and the many songs I've written and the bunch of plays I've written, I would have never done any of them if I hadn't started, right? That's how it is. So if you've got a story inside you, and I know you do, start where you are. Start right now. Start with what you remember. Start with what you imagine. What keeps you up at night, or what makes you laugh out loud? Start with something like that and then go from there. Because truthfully, if you're telling stories, you're giving someone a gift. And you never know who will hear or read your story and feel seen. And you don't know when your words or characters are going to reflect something someone else didn't even know they needed. That's why we tell stories. We don't tell them to show off. We don't tell them to be the best, but to share what it means to be human, what it means to be us on this hunk of rock covered by water, hurling through space at unimaginable speeds. So I know that we live in a world that's filled with just a ton of noise. We're hyperstimulated, all of us. We're distracted. Everything goes really fast. But I'm going to tell you that stories in this world are how we slow down and we feel. I think ultimately stories are where we remember we're not alone. Others share our experience. And even if they don't share our experience, they can perhaps empathize with it. And if you don't share someone else's experience through that story, at least you'll be able to empathize with it. You'll be able to connect to it. So I'm going to give you a practice. I'm going to give you something to start today where you are. Here it is. Take 2 minutes, set a timer, and finish this sentence. The story I haven't told yet is about, and just write for 2 minutes. Write without editing. Write without worrying about whether or not it's right. Just start. The sentence again is, the story I haven't told yet is about, and then just write. And then, if you feel bold, tell that story to somebody, one person out loud, over coffee or on the phone or standing in line at the grocery store. Let your story breathe. And I'm telling you, you're going to be amazed at what happens. Okay, that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about today. And if this sparked something in you, I would love to hear from you about it. Send me a message or tag me on Insta. @IsoldaT is the best way to reach me, pretty much anywhere. And I'd love to hear your story, right? If you're working on this, if you decide to try this, I would love to hear the story you're working on, or the one you just finished, starting to find the courage to tell. Honestly, this would be amazing to me to hear the story you want to tell. All right, cool. Until next time, I want to invite you to keep listening to that voice inside you, that inner storyteller. It's not random. It's your creative mind trying to get your attention. And honestly, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say next. This is Isolde Trachtenberg for the Your Creative Mind podcast, reminding you as always to be curious, be creative, and most of all, be kind. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the podcast if you're new, and it would mean the world to me if you told a friend about it. Today's episode was produced by Isolde Trachtenberg and is copyright 2025. As always, please remember this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, although we can always hope.